Again, both players taking a mulligan down, so it looks like 6 cards here between Warschauer and Reeve.
You know, see, it's not clear to me at all that that GCB can be beaten. You know,
tough.
Yeah, I think he's hungry.
What's funny is, you know, again, he's not a name that really jumps out to a lot of people. But
well,
you know,
you got to be from the old school to fully appreciate just how much he's done, you know?
And I only know him because I moved to the area.
Oh, okay.
Played against him in some PTQs. I mean, great guy.
Absolutely. He was a big community organizer. You know, right around the time of Grand Prix Portland last year, he organized a lot of events for people before the event, before the Grand Prix itself. Got people together for some gaming nights, some socializing. So here we see a Shock dispatching an early pack rat out of Ben.
Yeah, Warschauer put Reeve to the test right away. I think he might be putting him to the test again. There's the 4th mana, and that's the ultimate test. And this is the hardest card for the red-white burn Pyromancer deck to beat. Of course, the first thing you look towards to see if Chain of the Rocks is in Reeve's deck. There are 4 copies in the main deck, so he does have outs of this situation, but he better find one quick because it does not take Desecration Demon long. Yeah,
he mulliganed to a 1-land hand and did not get there until Desecration Demon had already hit. Now, fortunately, young Pyromancer actually provides there is a hope here. You know, he can use the burn to fuel to tap the Desecration Demon, assuming that Ben just has 0 removal.
There's a pack rat with the ability to make another one. So things are getting really, really difficult here for Sam. Even if he did have a Chain of the Rocks in his hand, Boros Guildgate is not a mountain, can't put the chain on there. And all Reeve can do is just pass the turn back.
Man, if he would have just drawn a red mana there, he could have shocked both rats and actually had something going for him. How many cards are in Sam's hand anyway?
I think he's got 7 right now. Again, he didn't mulligan to start the game off.
Yeah, definitely missed a land drop, but I assume he's got exactly 7.
Tough situation here for Reeve. I mean, you have to imagine getting this pairing right now. The matchup is very close. Some would argue favorable for the red-white Pyromancer burn deck, but not this game. But that's why they give you 3. Here's a Gray Merchant. Devotion check will be 2, 4, 5, and 6. Can't forget that Pack Rat token does have a converted mana cost. A Skullcrack will not allow Warschauer to gain life, but Reeve will still take 6, go down to 8. And there'll be time to go into the red zone here in just a moment, as there is a Chris Van Meter Elemental token for young Pyromancer. Maybe time to sacrifice for the demon here. Yep, and it will be. So no flying 6/6 beats. But some pack rat attacks on the ground will certainly work. See if young Pyromancer wants to jump in front of something here. Not a bad time to do so.
Yeah, the problem, though, of course, is that the young Pyromancer is basically his only hope of taking care of this demon unless he has a Chain to the Rocks. And I think he has neither a Mountain nor a Chain to the Rocks. So this is, well, I mean, this is definitely just a real tough spot for Sam Reeve.
Reeve going to go down to 4. Looks like we're going to cast the Magma Jet on the upkeep. That's what will happen. Going to take down actual pack rat. Time to scry as the elemental token does come into play. Young Pyromancer is one heck of a magic card.
And he needs an untapped res so that he can cast another shock so that he can kill the other pack rat and have another token to chump block a Gray Merchant.
It does not look like he found one, so all he can do is pass the turn back, a little bit frustrated, as Warschauer will untap the Desecration Demon, take a draw here. You do see the Mutavault there in the row. There's also a Hero's Downfall that can fire off. So it looks like it's going to be time to fire this, take care of the young Pyromancer. And between a Mutavault activation, making the rat a 2/2, Desecration Demon with sacrifice, and that is it. So, Ben Warschauer is going to win game number 1 here over Sam Reeve. Mono Black Devotion up a game over Red White Pyromancer. And that means we turn our attentions to the sideboard, and you've got the burn deck in front of you. What kind of help does he have?
Yeah, so Reeve's, you know, reasonably well set up in the game, you know, for game 1. There's not really going to be a lot of transformation. He's probably looking to board in Chandra Pyromancer, but beyond that, I think, so a couple of the questions he has to ask himself: does he want Banishing Light? Banishing Light, a possible answer to Desecration Demon, totally reasonable. And as funny as it sounds, sometimes you're going to want a Banishing Light in Underworld Connections.
Yeah, there are times.
The Prophetic Flame Speaker is, I think it's too dicey of an option, because I think that now that he's shown young Pyromancer, the things like Bioblight are going to stay in Ben's deck. So I think that Prophetic Flame Speaker is just not the right kind of gamble. I think that Toil Trouble's always an option if you're just looking for more burn to change your mix of burn.
Got like it on the play too, right?
Yeah, I mean the ability to just do a lot of extra damage. I don't love it that much in the mono black matchup, specifically because the black deck is going to be trying to empty its hands so quickly. I generally like it a little bit better against like a blue white deck, but it's definitely an option depending on, like, you know, for instance, main deck, he might just want to take out some of his low impact burn. But for the most part, I think he's not going to want to change the formula too much. He's got his main deck set up pretty well against black, you know, expecting it to be the most popular strategy in the format.
As I think you probably should. Other side here, 4 Duress, 4 Doomblade, 2 Erebos God of the Dead, 2 Dark Betrayal, 1 Bioblight, 1 Drown in Sorrow, 1 copy of Read the Bones. 4 Duress is a pretty easy place to start. Maybe some number of Doomblades here, but Devourer Flesh is actually one of the better cards here for Warschauer. So because he has 4 of those main deck and a Bioblight and Ultimate Price, don't know if he's actually going to need any copies of Doomblade. You can make an argument for an additional Bioblight simply because of Young Pyromancer. That's really it. I think it's pretty straightforward here.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're going to want at the very least, you're going to want the 1 Bioblight and the 4 Duresses. But I think that the main thing Ben's got to do is take out those 4 Lifebane zombies. And it's possible he'll want to shave some amount of Thoughtseize. I kind of like to Read the Bones in the sideboard a little bit better.
Okay.
I mean, I don't super love Read the Bones in this matchup, but you got to have something. And it'd be nice if he had access to things like Fracas Cure or Staff of the Death Magus, but he's got to play with what he's got, and he's got enough weak cards game 1. He's going to be stretching for playables.
We'll see what players do decide to change here as we are in our final round of the Swiss here, round 10 of 10 here in Portland. It has been fun watching players do battle. Looks like Josh Ravitz is going to make another top 8 here. Top 8'd the Standard Open at the Invitational Kickoff Season 3, lost in the finals to Festus Resendez playing mono red. Maybe that's part of the reason that Ravitz is playing mono blue devotion.
Just tired of losing to red.
Yeah, that's it's a very reasonable thing given Red's success on the Open Series recently. Gabe Carlton Barnes also into the top 8 playing mono black aggro deck that he has won a PTQ with already. So he is very, very comfortable with that deck, and we have 2 named players in the top 8. 6 more is what we're looking for, and we'll see what ends up happening.
Absolutely. So game 2, Sam is going to be on the play, and the matchup kind of favors him anyway. But this is not the matchup where being on the play will help him the most, you know? I mean, there's some matchups like we saw last round, the mono blue mirror, where being on the play was just absolutely crucial. But this matchup becomes a little bit, you know, kind of attrition-based, and it can be about some of the high-impact cards in the black deck. Desecration Demon, Gray Merchant, you know, the real high-impact cards, whereas Sam, most of his cards are all very similar.
He's going to draw, like, you know, 6 or 7 copies of them.
Yeah, what he wants is a good mix of mana. He doesn't care about the specific cards all that much. It's much more about which cards does Ben have.
It's a Thoughtseize. We'll see a Skullcrack, a Magma Jet, a Boros Charm, along with a Young Pyromancer, and 2 copies of Boros Guildgate. That's really going to slow Reeve down.
Interesting. So he chooses to take the Magma Jet, which is kind of an indication of Pack Rat. The other burn spells in Sam's hand, both Boros Charm and Skullcrack, just go to the dome. The Young Pyromancer, Ben obviously is representing having an answer to. This is kind of a Pack Rat type of situation. This is, I mean, hitting the Magma Jet there is definitely a statement of, I'm not scared. You know, I'm not just minimizing the amount of damage that you can do.
It's a timely untapped mountain. Allows Reeve to play a Young Pyromancer on turn number 2. It's hard to pass this up, so.
Oh, absolutely. Plus, this throws off Ben's Pack Rat line.
Yep.
Now, if Ben takes a turn to play, you know, I mean, first of all, Ben will drop everything to kill the Pyromancer if he can. But if he can't, I mean, Sam is actually going to start getting a little bit of an advantage going.
Well, there is a Pack Rat, so we'll see if Reeve is able to draw the rule spell, take that off, and he does not. He draws another land.
This is an interesting gamble. Ben choosing not to play Doomblade on the Young Pyromancer, instead just trying to develop his board and put some pressure on.
Going to offer up a trade, and Ben is going to decline that as well. So he's all in on this Pack Rat. That's what that means.
That is asking a lot of the Young Pack Rat, but it looks like that is the plan.
So Warschauer, first things first, he's going to need a 3rd land.
Now he does have the 3rd land. The question is, I mean, is there any chance that you just cop out to a to a Doomblade now? It's just disappointing to have to Doomblade when Sam can go ahead and make a token, but
maybe you think you can race.
This is such an aggressive line. This is, I mean, no respect, no fear whatsoever for the Red Mage's aggression.
Well, 2 damage is going to come across here. Reeve is going to go down to 18. Reeve going to fire off a spell here. Looks like a good spot for Boros Charm. 4 damage will be dealt, and a token will be made by Young Pyromancer. So 1/1 Elemental will come into play. Reeve will untap and take a draw. Puts a land directly into play, not wasting any time.
This is just a straight up race.
This is another copy of Young Pyromancer.
Very good at racing pack rats.
We know there's a Skullcrack hanging there in Reeve's hand, the ability to make more elemental tokens. The question, of course, is do you put that first Young Pyromancer into combat?
Definitely, why not?
Yep.
Oh, no, I was gonna say, because Ben has already demonstrated a willingness to take damage.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. His behavior has already shown that he'll take 2, so what would change that? You know, besides, I mean, maybe the Young Pyromancer happening.
You can live without this Pyromancer, though. He's already got another one.
Yeah.
And you'd hate to get blown out by a Bile Blight.
That would not be good.
Definitely an interesting game. Both players about to amass an army of tokens. Ben with pack rats that threaten to take over the game over the course of the next 4 turns if he lives that long.
Warschauer looking in his hand. You saw him discard a Swamp last turn. He does have 1 to play this turn. Wants to work his way towards 5 mana because he has not 1, but 2 copies of Great Merchant of Asphodel in his hand. There's also a Doomblade hanging out over there as well, so a lot of good options. He just needs to figure out exactly how to use them to win this game.
Yeah, I mean, the 2 Great Merchants in his hand are particularly exciting if he just plays this pack rat game for a little while.
So now we're going to go with the Doomblade over here.
So he switches gears. I think he wants to draw that Skullcrack out of Sam's hand so that his Great Merchant is a little bit more live.
He does know about that, of course, from the Thoughtseize on turn number 1. So it's not a bad option. It looks like Sam says, I'm not going to bite. Sam is holding on to that Skullcrack for some amount of time. You have to imagine.
He wants to hit the Grey Merchant.
Now, pack rats are probably pretty free to attack here, honestly. With the Mutavault already?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, you don't... The tough thing, though, is that imagine if Sam has a Lightning Strike. If he Lightning Strikes 1 pack rat and then double blocks the other, that's a nightmare.
Things get ugly then.
Yeah.
You see Warschauer maybe a little unsure of himself, but it looks like deciding finally, maybe, to come into the red zone. But again, very, very cautious. With top 8 on the line and a pretty good hand. The stakes have
never been higher.
Yeah. For a youngster like him.
Splits the difference and sends 1 pack rat in. Boosts it up to a 3/3. Now he does get an extra point of damage in, but that means that there is 1 less blocker for any potential counterattack. But it looks like it's not going to matter too much.
Reeve is going to take a draw. We know about Skullcrack. There's a Mutavault. And there's a Boros Guildgate in hand. So he is flooding at a poor time to be doing so. Does play Mutavault for the turn, but there are no good attacks here. We saw him holding a Skullcrack before. You have to imagine he's going to do so again, and he will just pass the turn back over to a Warschauer, who will draw a card. And if it's a land, it's important, and it is a land. Land number 5 shows up here for Grey Merchant. And yes, one of them can be taken care of via Skullcrack, but I think you just let these babies rain down now.
See, I don't know. You could always just get greedy. Pack rat for 1 more turn. Just let it ride. Just depends on how Ben wants to play it.
You know, one thing here is that Reeve doesn't know that Warschauer has 2 copies of Grey Merchant. So maybe you play the first one here. Sure, I don't get to gain my 4 life, but the next one will let me gain 6 life. And that's be more than good enough.
So Ben does have a Thoughtseize.
Yep.
Which is interesting. Likely just going to become a pack rat, but it is an option for fighting Skullcrack.
in come the Rats. We could see Warschauer take a more aggressive approach, as you did mention. Just keep on the Pack Rat train. Activate Mutavault as well if you'd like. It looks like an Elemental Token will get in front. That'll bite the dust. 2 damage will come across. Reeve will go down to 13. 4. Let's make it 5. Here's a Gray Merchant. You know you're going to get
called it.
Yeah, you know you're going to get the Skull Crack out. So an Elemental Token will come in, but the drain will still occur. So Reeve's still going to go down to 9 from the Devotion being at 4. And Warschauer will be at 9 as well. So the game is even at this point.
The game is afoot is what the game is.
Yes. I'm using the term even very loosely right now. It is anything but that. I believe Warschauer is doing quite well in this game. Reeve drawing maybe 1 too many lands right now. He's got to run off some burn spells, and a Temple of Triumph is not a burn spell. That top card's going to go to the bottom very quickly. Warschauer going to untap here. He will take a draw.
Warschauer went all in on this Pack Rat, and it's been paying off for him in a big way. But he is certainly not out of the woods yet. Now, if he can stick a Gray Merchant here, I think that's the nail in the coffin.
I think that's the case. It looks like we're going to play one of these pre-combat. See if there's a Skull Crack running around, and that's going to resolve. So now Reeve is going to go down to 3. Warschauer is going to go up to 15. And this is probably going to be too much for the Red-White Pyromancer player to overcome. 15 life is so much here. Warschauer can't just send in with everybody with this comfortable boost in life. Even with the Desecration Demon in reserve.
Now, Warschauer, Ben actually knows Reeve's hand. He remembers from earlier that there is Guildgate still unaccounted for.
An activation of Mutavault means we're going to have to play a little bit of defense. It's time to start the blocking.
Yeah, I mean, 3 life is not a lot of life.
I'm inclined to agree with you. There are the blocks. Mutavaulting in front of Pack Rat. The token will get in front of the token. And those all will trade. Now there's just a young Pyromancer staring down 2 Gray Merchants.
We need a War Leader's Helix is what we need.
What did we find? There's another young Pyromancer. That is not a Helix. Warschauer quickly untaps. He's going to activate Mutavault. He knows that last card, and that is going to do it. Ben Warschauer is going to win this match over Sam Reeve. Mono Black Devotion was on to 9-1, and for the youngster there on the left, there's a real shot at him being the #1 seed in our elimination rounds.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe there will be a Mono Red player, a Red Mage, but it's not here. It's not now.
It's not Burn. It is not Sam Reeve.
I think in a surprise to many, Mono Black. I think Black's going to win the weekend. We'll see. If it's not Black Devotion, maybe it's Black Aggro.
Yeah.
But one way or the other.
Black won the day last weekend in Chicago. Tyler Bloom took it down.
Yeah, Thoughtseize and Hero's Downfall is very real.
And they're not going anywhere either.
Nope.
They're going to stay a whole another year just for us. Congratulations to Ben Warschauer. Moving on to 9-1.
It is important to note, though, things are going to be a lot different when there's no Underworld connections.